I'm here.
128 people join. 128 people join. I think pretty much all in.
Hello, checking in.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Ha, but I don't know why I have PK now, picture on my computer.
I see you, Han. Don't worry.
Oh, you see me?
Yes, I do see you.
We
How
all
come-
see you.
How come PK say that I have his picture?
You are there. Okay.
No,
I'm
no,
so
no.
confused. Okay.
So it's because
see a
I signed
beautiful
on on your login last time. We can talk about it later.
Okay, guys, I think the times, let's start it. I hope everybody excited. Today is January 17th. This is second class for the auto school. So we always start with a company motto, ends with a company motto. So everybody ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Go.
Humility.
Okay. This afternoon, we're gonna start with we did a company motto, we did a marketing plan. You guys pay really attention. He's excellent explain about the marketing plan. This is the most important we want to know, so we know how to make money. Seal Di Diego, Sharon Rose Master from his New Jersey Bargain Center. And we will have 3-minute speech, like 8 people we're gonna introduce. Then we will have a company motto and the news. Then it's gonna be end of this Zoom meeting. So first, we're gonna big welcome, give a big round of applause to the marketing plan for Seal Di Diego, Sharon Rose Master. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, here we go.
Take your time.
Okay, hello, everybody again. Let's see where I am. Okay, I'm all set now. Thank you, everybody, for coming over today, and thank you for inviting me. My name again is Sharon Rose Master Sil Di Diego, and it's my pleasure to share with you about our Atomy marketing details for our Auto Sales Master workshop or course, I think you call it as well. So first of all, congratulations to everybody who's here, because this is really the place that everybody should want to be today and any day with Atomy sales masters who are working to become financially free and great entrepreneurs and business people. So let's get started. So first of all, a little reality check. I like to do this because it really helps to drive our own passion, but also it's going to help us to get consumers and to get business partners, which is always important to be a strong auto sales master. So just a little outline of the landscape. We're in the 4th industrial revolution, right? We kind of know this. We've been hearing about this from our CEO, Hangyo Park, but this is important to remember. You know, we transferred into the industrial revolution with electricity and computing, and now we're in the connected economy where Atomy is a leading player in the connected platform economy. But just to remind us what it is, it's all about artificial intelligence and robots, right? And many other technologies. And what's different this time is that it's really going across all of our lifestyle these days compared to other industrial revolutions. So for example, we have GPS and we have Siri, and Facebook identifies us. Netflix gives us recommendations and personalizations of ads, and VR technology, which Atomy is using for retail selling. But all this is what's called the 4th industrial revolution, where Atomy is playing. And according to the World Economic Forum, they like to talk about this, but they talk about it positively, that there's potential for a lot of income levels and quality of life across the globe. But the planners are always really positive, right? But the reality is that people have a lot of concerns about all of this technology in all of our lives, whether it's privacy, data security, and information accuracy. And as income earners, which we are all on this call, right? Are we all income earners? Yes. Atomy income seekers? Yes. So we have concerns, as well as our friends and neighbors who are down the street or across the globe. There's a lot of job loss related to the AI and the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of need for people to upskill, to be reemployed. And there's a question of human relevance. If all these robots are going to do all the jobs, what are we going to do, right? And global competition. But we're lucky. Now, some of the young whippersnappers that can study hard and have a lot of energy to work 20 hours a day, they can make $150,000 to $600,000 if they work for Google. Or if they're in data analytics, they can make almost $200,000. So that's the alternative instead of Atomy, but not many people can do it, right? In fact, there's only 1 million people in the world that actually work for the top 4 AI companies. That's not a lot, because even just in the United States, there's 131 million, so far less than 1%. So if these robots and AR are taking away our jobs, then there's not going to be many jobs in that area. And even basic things are becoming automated, as you know, lawyers, accountants, everybody we know can be automated. And so this is really a good talking point, because one of the big things we're going to talk about today is how to get consumers and how to get partners. So, you know, all these people are really hurting these days, right? So they're really good to talk to. Now, there are platforms that use the AI technology, and you know them, Amazon, Uber, and Airbnb, but they're all profit driven for the owners, right? Owners and shareholders, right? So we know a lot of people, we see them. I know a friend who she has 4 part-time jobs. She's a coach, she's an Uber driver for Uber Eats. She has all these things that she's doing. I know so many people like that, but they're really not making that much money, and it's hard for them to sleep. And that's why I talk to them about Atomy and becoming an Atomy consumer. And, you know, even though they have AI, all the economic structure is still the same, right? As in the olden days. There's a few people at the top, that smiley guy in the green, and he's making all the green money, right? So most of the money was made in the top before the AI and 4th Industrial Revolution, and very little made by beginners. And it's the same economic structure. That's what Atomy is competing against. And that's what we have an opportunity to change. So nothing has changed in the background, but Atomy, right? We have a righteous payout system. We no longer have a pyramid system. In Atomy, we have a righteous system. One of the things we're going to talk about today is our general commission. And we can start at $60 a day, and we can all reach $1,200 a day just for general commission. So behind all the technology, because Atomy does use a lot of this technology, but what's really differentiator, let's say a differentiator of Atomy, when you talk to your friends, is that we have a righteous system, and it's the soft business model and the soft heart of Chairman Hongo Park, who's created this compensation system that we're going to talk about in more detail. That's what's different about Atomy. So Atomy gives us the opportunity to make many rich people, and we have over 100 people now that are striving for, maybe some of you are already auto sales masters, and this is really the drawing point when you get to talk to people about the business. So in this post-platform age with the AI technology, as you know, we are a consumer driven company, and we have all these producers that the company takes care of sourcing. I have a lot of friends that try to do drop shipping or online malls. In fact, we just had a friend that was trying to do that and also working, and both of those things aren't working out. So when I listen to people that are trying to do all these other types of entrepreneurial adventures, I listen for them, and then I tell them that we have the best platform. So I meet them where they are. If they're an Uber driver, I say, hey, we have a platform that you're the owner from day one. And if it's somebody who's really trying to be, you know, into some other kind of technology, hey, we have that technology. So a lot of talking points we can say. because Atomy shares with consumers up to 70%. And as you know, we're building our platform for free on the Atomy platform. So this is the real advantage of Atomy. And so the crossover as to what's unique about Atomy is our connected consumers, which make us, you know, residual income generating people. And it's all because of the multiplication force of network marketing, the good of network marketing. And that's the power of Atomy. We use only the good part of network marketing, which is the payout using the MLM concept. So only thing about MLM with that, as you know, is the payout. And that's what we're going to talk about detail. But leave you just with one last thought. You know, people say, if you don't own the platform, you're the commodity. You know, if you're using online platform for free, you're the commodity, right? They're selling your clicks and likes to advertisers, and you are the product. But with Atomy, no, we are an integral part of the core people in our platform. And our competition, though, is out there, right? Mr. Jeff Bezos is becoming bigger. So this is, you know, it's an interesting fact, but what this really means is that no one can, you've seen it lately, it's very hard to compete with Jeff Bezos if we tried to have our own business, but with Atomy we can. And we know another reason why we can get consumers is because of all the retail stores that have closed down, right? This last year, boy, I think there's like 600,000 businesses have gone out. And that means not only the businesses have gone out, but so many people we know, right, are losing their jobs. In fact, there was one of our partners had a friend overseas in Asia who a year or two ago, she'd pop into the meetings, but she wasn't really paying attention. She had a day job. She was an entrepreneur selling on some shop. But guess what? Just this weekend, just yesterday, I think, she finally opened up, right? And she is now really wants to become an Atomy sales master. And she's shaking hands with the team. And that's the opportunity, because we have to leverage the messages out there. People are suffering. So we can meet them where they are. They're suffering for their jobs, and we can get them to come in and show them what to do. And the great news about our Atomy platform, just so we know, because it is hard to work to become an auto sales master, but in the last year, outside of Korea, Atomy's revenue is way up, right? About 30%, maybe more, depending on the country. So just to set the context is that now is the time for Atomy. And I'm so glad everybody's here today. And let's get into how we actually calculate and make the consumer base to become successful. So again, I'm sure you all know this, but these are talking points we have to have, you know, in our elevator pitch. So just as a reminder, we know, and there may be one or two people that are not used to all of the presentations themselves, right? So there's no fees and there's no obligations. So this is huge. And this comes into play when we're going to go into the compensation of our downline groups, because it's so easy on, you know, one of our partners had been in another finance business, and she was explaining that she had to pay, you know, $99 to join, and she had to pay a monthly fee, and she had to have licenses that cost hundreds of dollars. And she would work so hard like we do to get somebody to listen to a little pitch or a presentation, or even just over coffee. And then at the end of it, she'd have to list all the fees. And sometimes we forget that. So that is really a driver for our success, is no fees and no obligations. And we know we have no risks. So when it comes time to have your own little, you know, you do need a little inventory sometimes to keep things moving quickly, because you want to get things into the hands of the consumers, then we know there's no risks, because there's 100% satisfaction guarantee. We can return products from 30 days. So it's another great talking point as you're building your consumer base, right? Because we have to get people to try the products. So no fees, no obligations, no risks. And the other foundational element, this is really, we know, drives our residual income, is that the company designed the low price and the high quality for customer success. And unlike other businesses, we don't have to pay for Facebook ads, right? We don't have to, once we get somebody hooked on a few products, and that's really the key to become auto sales master. We have to get people to try the products, and then the record is that once they try it, 99.9% of the people voluntarily order. And that is the engine that's making our residual income, right? So our hard effort to become a sales master, especially auto sales master, is to know this in your heart. And that's why you can work hard to get those repeat customers that are going to voluntarily reorder. So we know the products are great. That's not enough. We all have to know what the effects are. We all have to use them, right? But the products are great because they're high quality and they're low price. And again, this is going to make this business model, if we stick with it, it's already proven over 10 years and we can do it because our Mastige is the low price, high quality, and the curated products. So all of this foundational stuff is here with us. We don't have to do any of this and it's here. So let's take advantage of it. And we know we have a global distribution system with Colmar and Kerry. And we know that this system is already in place and we don't have to touch it, right? We don't have to touch all this stuff. It's just an area that we're going to talk about that we have to focus on. And the company is building across the globe. And this one global ID number, remember this is going to come up as we're calculating our success to be the auto sales master. This one global ID number is why you have to keep at it and stay in it and keep doing it. And also the company's whole policy of global sourcing and global sales. This is another big way to get consumers and to keep consumers, because if you keep consumers and they start to use all these products and more products are coming in, the basket size is going to grow to give you the PV that you need. So again, these are foundational elements of the company, and we have to be confident because, I mean, this year we're 1.5 billion in sales. So if you're still questioning, because people say, and the Imperial Masters say that by the time you become Imperial Master, maybe 7 or 8 times you thought you might quit, right? And everybody says, don't give up. And this is the reason why we should give up. All these facts we just went over, the structure of the company, the products, the success record, all this stuff means that it's gonna work. The ship is sailing for the next 100 years. And that's why we have to do all the effort in the next steps we're going to talk about, because we can rely on the company. I just want to tell you that the technology is there. When people say, oh, but there's all this other stuff out there. Well, as you know, you've seen Mr. Park and the leadership testing all this technology. So again, we're a high-tech company as well, and we can get people to come in. And we know we have the marketplace, right? So this marketplace is coming down the pike in another year or two, where it's going to be a sister marketplace. So if we can keep and hold our customers and get new customers through this, there's going to be thousands of products. So it's going to be easier for us to build our customer base, especially with all of the direct consumer manufacturers. And we're going to be able to compete really well with any other marketplace, even Amazon. And there's going to be a lot of deals. So our job is going to get easier in many ways, because more people are going to see Atomy as we open this Asia Mall. So this is some energy that can drive us to keep going forward. So just to wrap up this introductory section, it's all about consumers. So anybody can do this, right? Anybody can do this. We know we have our Mastige value prop. We have the visionary management. We have the plug and play global system. We have the technology, and we have the righteous compensation plan. So let's be all confident, because sometimes when the door closes, when the phone gets hung up, when the Zoom call ends, when you start to reveal to your friend why you want to talk to him about facial cream, anti-wrinkle cream, or Hemoheme, we have to just keep at it. So let's go into really the core of what we want to talk about today, is the righteous compensation plan. Excuse me for 1 second. So here we go. So just to review the basics, this is a big, big business, right? We have 2 big buckets that we're going to talk about how we earn these: general commission and our mastership bonus. And this can give us at least $50,000 a month if we reach Imperial Master. right? And this is residual income. You know, many people right now are making 100,000 or even more at the imperial level a month, but you know, we'll see more of that in a minute. So these are our two big buckets. So we're going to talk about how do we earn this and how we have to understand how this works so that we can achieve not our auto sales master. And don't forget, you know, a lot of times, I don't even mention this a lot, promotional bonuses. But if you add all the cash bonuses for all the 7 mastership, they're one time, but they add up to $1.3 million. Now, what that does for me, it reminds me, and I can remind my team members that, you know, even though maybe you haven't hit the $2,000 a month yet, this is the struggle, right? To get from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 a month. Guess what? This is like deferred payment, this promotional bonus. As long as you stay in it to win it, right, to become Imperial Master, you're going to get this money. So sometimes you can think about this as, you know, just interest waiting for you in the bank. So that's another motivator for us that we can have. And it is a big, big business. So we can change our lives and our neighbors and our families. We know that, right? So let's look at this. So we know that there's a stairway to that success, right? From sales master up to Imperial Master. So let's talk about this $2,000 a month. How do we get there? How it's calculated? How we can act and behave and work as a team to make that happen. Now we know that it can take as long as you want, but it's better to do it quickly and early. But one thing is that there's no advantage from someone that joined this year, well, let's say a year ago, compared to 5 years ago or 5 years later, because the way the system is structured as a righteous plan, we all have a chance to meet at the top limit. So that also can give us a motivation, you know, because other businesses, you know, you join any company as an employee, it's very hard to get up there to take the CEO's job, right? To make the $1 million a year. But in Atomy, we can, right? And this is another thing that can motivate us. So speed and high activity level is what's going to help us to become an auto sales master. And again, you know, these trips, this money, these are the one-time bonuses we have. We have seven Imperial Masters to date. So they've really made all this money, even $1 million and all this office and the car. We know that. That's a motivating factor and it's real. And here's the numbers of our fellow people. And what we want to do is we want to add everybody on this call, the 200 people on this call. We want you to be one of these auto sales masters, right? That's why we're here today. And that means if you're a passive auto sales master, you're making $2,000 a month at least 12 times a year, okay? And that's what we're after. And here's the track record, right? The record is that there's over 600 leaders making over $100,000 a year. That was about 4 months ago. But there are people that make $400,000 a year, and then others that make 200, 100. Those are the Leaders Club and the Royal Leaders Club and the Crown Leaders Club. And that's where we're all going to go. But if you can see this, there were 4,000 auto sales masters, right? So it's not a pipe dream. This is really happening. And every month, every quarter, every year, we see these numbers growing and growing. So we can be confident that that's the case. So let's get back to our righteous payout system. So one of the things we have to remember that we have this limit, right? Mr. Park cut the top off of this pyramid and gives us an equal chance of success for all. And it is at, I always say 50,000 because that's guaranteed for 100 years. That's what we understand. You know, the 100,000 in those higher levels, that's a temporary situation because of people within each of the ranks of the masterships. You can talk to your sponsor directly about that. But the key thing is that, and this is one point I want to make about this righteousness that we don't have a chance to talk about when we're just doing the presentation. But here in this course, we can talk about it. The top, the points that go up to the people that are already making 50,000, you know, they're still earning maybe, you know, hundreds of millions of points, but they don't get paid to them. And sometimes when people are kicking the tires, asking us, you know, when you get people that are interested in earning money as an income earner with Atomy, they may think, oh, it's a gimmick, right? Because all of these other systems, somehow the company is taking that money from the top. But in Atomy, it's coming down, right? So if somebody has are making more than the top limit and there's extra PV that they don't get paid for, some people have asked me, the company must take that money, right? They're pocketing that money somehow. But no, and this is a very important point to remember, those PVs and the related cash that would have been paid for them, basically the money that credit of overflow goes to the bottom, right? Under the limit. It goes into the pool for the people to share who make that money every day, right? So that's important to remember because this is another sign of our righteousness, and it's an important question that has to be answered sometime. Where does all those extra PV go if you're cutting the top off? Because people are still making more than those things. So does everybody get that? Very righteous. How about, let's get into the details of the compensation. Okay, so we have this binary system, right? And I don't know how many people have ever been involved in network marketing before Atomy. Anybody? Okay. You know, for me and many people with Atomy, you know, a lot of people are new. I say a majority of the people I met are new. I know that people have done Atomy before, network marketing before. They understand all this stuff at the beginning. But binary system is a very simple system. And here's some of the characteristics, right? We have a left group or leg and a right group or leg. We know that. We're already putting our points in, we're registering people, right? So we have this, this system. And the payments based on the consumption of goods by the connected consumers. And this is the last point on this page is something that we really have to remember. To really go up in the system, we have to be responsible for two legs because the bonuses are based on teamwork with the two legs. But this is the basic structure, as you know, of the binary system. That's what we are. And we have a lot of positive aspects of our Atomy system. But in all systems, you have to be qualified, right? Even if you're a salesperson that has a low salary in another company, you have to hit a certain volume and then you can get paid your commission, right? And it's very similar in Atomy, is that we have our first bucket, which is the general commission. And there's two ways to get qualified. I'm going to mainly talk about this way, which is that there's a personal PV that happens. So there's a $300,000 level in this way of being qualified. So this gives us a different size check. And to be an auto sales master, we not only have to have 300,000, but you're going to have to go up to 700,000. And then there's another level for 1.5 million and 2.4 million. And each of these gives us a different size check, right? And it's sometimes people can misunderstand when they, you know, just hearing it for the first time. But don't think that you have to, after you get the 300,000, that you have to add an additional 700,000. No, it's just an incremental amount of 400,000 to go up to that next level of 700,000, which you'll need to become an auto sales master. But this qualification, it gives us an eligibility to get a commission check. We don't get the commission check yet. There's no income yet. And the good news is that there's no expiration. One time for life and no reset. Now, in your travels in Atomy, you're going to come across people that may have done some network marketing. And so this is going to be a big, big plus if they hear this, the no reset. I cannot tell you how many people who have tried network marketing, who have joined our team, have mentioned that once they heard this no reset, it was like gold to open up their mind and their heart. So it is something that we should remember, that this is another key talking point as we're trying to get consumers and especially business people after they love the products. So this is huge. So we have to be qualified. Now, there's a second method that I'm not going to talk about in too much detail, but I will touch on it later. So let's talk about our group PV. I'm hoping you all know the basics of this, and then we'll dig down a little deeper. But you know, we have our left group and our right group, right? Of course. And the key point is to get to our first check, right? Is that's $60 plus or minus. We have to have 300,000 and 300,000 on our left and right legs. And that will give us a check of $60. Now, a couple of little details about this is that actually before we get that $60, we're given commission points that are in the middle here. In this case, it's 15 points. And there's a calculation that goes every day that the total amount of points earned divided by the number of people and the points that they achieved will give us a point dollar value. So generally speaking, it can be about $4. And you can see that by reverse engineering, right? $4 times 15 points is $60. And that's how that works. The great thing here is that even before people knew that they could make thousands of dollars a month, and they were just shopping under their own ID number, because that's really important, that personal PV ID number, they were becoming qualified because it was going into their account, right? That's how you get your 300,000. So that's what happens. And it's paid daily, and it's calculated daily and paid weekly. So this is just normal consumer volume. And actually, you can make a lot of money here, right? You know that after you get to 700,000 and 700 on each leg, you get $120 a day. And then this goes up as volume goes up to $1,200 a day that you saw at the very beginning. Now, remember that every time you step up, you have to increase your personal PV, but it's incremental. And the other thing is that once you hit 2.4 million PV, then that's it. You don't have to be qualified anymore. But the great thing is that once you hit the 300,000 PV, you're going to have an opportunity to help your downline, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's talk about some of the unique advantages of Atomy and how we calculate our general commission. In Atomy, we have what total sum, we call it unlimited levels and unlimited accumulation of the total sum. So this is a couple things very important to know about this is that this can be hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands and millions of people. Now, the reason that this is so powerful is that for several reasons, but the first thing I want to mention that some people don't always realize, especially if they've been in some other system before, like a network marketing, in other systems, you only get credit for people that you recruited into the business, right? Anybody have that before? Right? So you only get credit for people that you've recruited into the business. And some people have that understanding, which is a misunderstanding with Atomy, because we get credit for anybody, even if we never met them before, even if we don't even know who introduced them. Why there's a person who has a bunch of people down in the South American country, and the people are so far down, she doesn't even know the name, but she's getting thousands of dollars worth of PV because of this generous calculation method of Atomy, right? So this total sum and unlimited levels is a real benefit for us. And so what happens then is that after you satisfy your individual 300,000 PV to get your $60 check, you still are an active consumer, right? Why would you not be? We love Atomy. And so this is the time when you can give back to your downline and create synergy by buying your next box of Hemoheme, your next Absolute Skincare, your next vitamin C at the bottom of the leg, because everything adds up. Everybody in that line, even 1 million people down that line, get credit for that box of Hemoheme, that 54,600. This is a big multiplication factor. But if you don't realize that you really need to put it down below, and of course, we often help the people that are very interested in working hard to make the money. But if you're keeping it up only with the people that you know, you're wasting valuable power of the Atomy system. So we want to put it down to the bottom. And of course, we have our right leg. And we do the same thing there, right? It's the same thing. We get full credit on the right and left. And usually what we do is we want to make sure we're building those lines, because we come in one line and we may know people, but we have to have a mindset to make sure we cluster people together who know each other. Family members typically on this example would go on the right line. Co-workers or college friends would go on the left line. Keep the like people together, because the like people together is synergy. Synergy means when they start to realize they can make money, and because of this total sum, then that one box of Hemoheme is going to help all of our friends that we know, and we're going to, and even our new friends that we come with. So there's a lot of different daily uses of this total sum to increase our PV. And so the opportunities in Atomy come because of this line, that if we stay and that something can pop, what we call pop, which we'll talk about later. Now, here's the other key point about being paid, right? You know that you're paid on your shorter leg. Everybody knows that, right? You're paid on your shorter leg. So for example, if you had 6 million on the left and then 300,000 PV on the right leg as a total sum, you would get a check for what? Would you get a check for $600? Anybody? Anybody? $600? No? You'd get a check for $60, right? Because that's the formula for Atomy. We get paid on our lower leg. So that's important to think about. But the best thing is when you cannot control the balance, because that means that people are running independently, your consumers are buying. But we'll talk about when you challenge how to coordinate that. So after you're paid, the check goes to zero, right? How about our global ID business number? So this is another powerful factor for Atomy. In other companies, you have to register and start from zero in those countries. But the global business effect of Atomy is like this. It gives us a big opportunity for popping. I'll tell you a story that, you know, when you have certain consumers, as these countries open and people start to join your team, and you're not making any effort really to do any of the infrastructure, right? But this will give you an opportunity to grow a lot of consumers and maybe more business people. So new countries have a very positive effect on us in Atomy. So just to recap the basics, we're qualified with our personal PV once for life. There's no reset. The group PV is the one that generates the income. We get these unlimited levels of accumulation, and we're paid on the smaller leg. Once we're paid, the group PV goes to zero. And then we have this one global ID number that we're going to see as we're building towards Auto Sales Master in a few slides later. That gives us power to grow. And we have this righteous compensation plan because there's an income ceiling and everybody can reach the top. That's just the basics. Now let's go into how we drive towards our the mastership bonus, just very briefly, and then we'll go into the details about Auto Sales Master. So the pool, you know, is there's a 20% pool that is for our mastership bonus. But out of the 20%, 10% goes to the sales masters. This is another sign of the righteousness of the system to help the beginners, which is a great thing, right? And all the other masterships share the 10%. Now, there's a breakdown for that. I'm not going to go into all the details of that. But the reason why you're hearing about people like Imperial Masters making like 100,000 a month or more and big bonuses is because you split the money at each level, actually, then sometimes there's only a few, right? There's only 7 Imperial Masters. And so if they get, 0.2% of, 0.2% of this pool, they get a certain percentage of the pool, but there's only a few people in that level, then they share all of that pool, right? So that's something that if you want to understand that, talk to your sponsor about. But the point is that as you climb up, the people within that level are sharing that allocation of that bonus pool. So let's get into the nitty gritty and the details about the Auto Sales Master. Everybody ready to get into that? Okay. To define the Sales Master, this is the essence. I think everybody should have known this by now, or you wouldn't be at this meeting, right? But just as a review. So the sales master is calculated twice a month from the 1st to the 15th and the 16th to the end. And what we need to do to become this is, first of all, it's calculated that we need 2.5 million PV on the left and the right. That's the total sum. So we have the vocabulary, the total sum of the group PV. And the auto sales master is when we reach this, right? Either passive 12 times a month, 12 times a year, or every single period, which is 24 in a year. That would be an auto sales master. And when you become a passive auto sales master, you, in the old days, I don't know if we're doing this this year, but we have an auto sales master conference. And then we learn even more things about leadership because, as you know, the auto sales master rank is the first career step. So that's what happens. And that's how we're defined as the auto sales master. Now you can see here that we have to have increased our personal PV to 700,000 PV. So we had 300,000 to get our $60 check. Now we go up to an additional 400 to get to the 700,000. But guess what? The company is so generous that if you have to add that 400,000 to your personal PV, you can deduct it from your 2.5 million on one of your legs. So actually, to become an auto sales master, you really only need 2.1 million on one leg, 2.5 million on the other leg, and then you use the other 400 for 700K. But that's just one time, the first time you reach that, right? Because the first time you reach it, you receive the rank and you are acknowledged with a certificate, and there's other things that happen, as you know. But that is only eligible the first time, right? Now let's get into a little bit more of how this works. So you have to increase your PV, as we just said. So that's something to plan for. And so when you do that, obviously, you're going to buy your next things there. But, you know, as you're working, you'll be surprised that some of your upline, right, after they satisfy their qualification, sometimes you may get an upline person, sponsor, they'll put some PV in your account. So sometimes you don't have to do all of that yourself, but don't expect it. Now, what is the reward? What is the reward when we become our sales master for our bonus, right? You've already, well, on the process of this, you'll have received about 8 checks of $60. So you'll have $480. And because you achieved the 2.5 million on each leg, you receive $420 of the bonus, more or less, right? So you add the 420 plus the 480, and you have your $900 that you earned those 2 weeks. And that's where you start to earn this money. So as you're planning to achieve your sales master, your auto sales master, it's always, you know, a great thing that you're getting close and you know that you're going to get this big bonus coming, and you're already making these other checks, and you can help other people make a few checks along the way. In addition, as you know, we get some prizes. So we get the fame and the hemoheme and the evening care 4 set. So that's also a value of several $100s in addition. So really, you're making about $1,100 to $1,200 the first time, because these gifts are only given to you the first time you make the auto sales master. Now, what's the practical way, right? There's a lot of different strategies and tactics. We're not going to talk about all of them. That's something you do with your team and your sponsor during your consultations and your line meetings. But you know that you have to have the 2.5 million and 2.5 million. Now, there's a couple ways to break this down, right? But if you think about the loyal consumer, it's not that hard to do this. So let's think about a typical household that's just really a low-level loyal consumer. If they start to buy certain items, and I just have a little example here, if they buy a hemoheme, you know, if they one for one person, but if they have somebody else in their house, they're already up to 100,000. But let's just say for myself, and then the fame kit, evening care, vitamin C, right? So that one household in 2 weeks could easily use 100,000 points. So if we think about a very early loyal consumer who's using just a handful of products, then you need to have how many people? Well, that gives you 100,000. So let's calculate that. To do that, you need about 100 people in a month to be an auto consumer. So let's look at the top. So the first challenge period, if you have 25 people using $100,000 in their basket in those 2 months, you'll need only those 25 people. On your left and your right, so that's 50 people. That's what it is. And then if you do the same thing the second month, you'll make Auto Sales Master a second time and get your next $1,000, right? And then if you do 50 and 50 for the whole month, you need about 100 people. 100 people that consume 100,000. That's pretty average if someone's using a handful of products, and especially if they're using skincare and Hemoheme. And then you add up the other members of their households, and they're generating much more than that. So that's what's possible. Now, we have crazy consumers too, right? Crazy consumers probably use 300,000 to 400,000 PV. And here's a list. I mean, how many products are you using a month? Can you add it up? Anybody using 20 products a month? How about 40 products a month? How about a crazy consumer like this? Use over 300,000, maybe using 50 or 60 products a month, right? So all the auto sales masters are definitely crazy consumers. And if you're not, that's what you have to become for many reasons. It's not just for PV. You have to know the products by using them. You have to be able to tell about the products. So just think about the shopping list. And it's so easy because we're just shifting, right? So, but this is a crazy consumer basket. So if you have a crazy consumer, right? And we go backwards, you have a crazy consumer using 300, you can cut these numbers by a third, right? If you had 30 crazy consumers, you don't need 100 crazy. You don't need 100 consumers at 100,000. So that's what it is. Get people to be crazy, right? We heard a lot in some of these success academies and one-day seminars and our team meetings. People are going crazy because we love the products and we love the PV and we love the money, right? So just get a bunch of fellow crazy and ladies and men who are crazy, and it becomes much, much easier to reach the number of households because their PV is up, their basket is up. So it's about shopping and sharing and all that stuff, right? So that's the crazy consumer basket, about 300,000. But I know people that use 80 and 100 Atomy products because you know why? They're intentional. They go through their cabinets in their kitchen, in their bathroom, any part of the house, under their kitchen sink for cleaning products. If you're not switching over everything to Atomy, then you're just not crazy enough. So one of the lessons today is just be crazy. And if you think you're crazy, look at the person across the hall and they're even crazier. Sounds like someone's crazy over there. They're getting crazier. Well, let's remember really the purpose of becoming a sales master and an auto sales master, right? There's three real things. First of all, is that this is our first career goal in Atomy. And what we're doing is we're building consumers, we're gaining income, and we're also looking to find leaders. So there's a lot of times as a discussion of people, the right timing to take off to try auto sales master is really important. It's something that you have to have in your heart. You have to talk with your sponsor. You have to talk with your teammates, right? But this is a big step and it's a big effort. But this is the goal. One is to hit that point, because once we achieve auto sales master, we have achieved about 80 to 90% of success in Atomy. We're increasing our loyal consumer base, and we're finding ambitious leaders who want to be sales masters to imperial masters. We don't necessarily, and usually we avoid asking people if they want to do the business with us until they love the products. But in our eye, in our heart, we're watching for people as they love the products if they have the personality traits that match the philosophy of the company, and at the right time, we'll talk to them about the business, right? The right time somebody approached you to go for Auto Sales Master, to come to this course and workshop, and because it takes commitment and it takes teamwork and a lot of things. So, but that's what we're looking for. To do Sales Master the first time, and you buy extra product because you want to move it. The thing about Auto Sales Master is it's forcing you to make the calls, to deliver the goods. It's getting you off your, your proverbial seat, even though we're sitting at home these days, but it's getting you on the phone, on Zoom, on the internet, social media. It's forcing you to take more action than you were before you declared you wanted to be a sales master, and especially auto sales master. The thing about it is, once you make a commitment, you have to keep going. So you're building your consumers, you're building your PV and your income, but really what you're trying to do is move the product, move the product, move the product. Sometimes you don't have any money to buy extra, an extra 10 or 20 or 30 boxes. If you don't want to put the cash in, then what you do is you have to move the product quicker. You have to call more people. So there's a lot of tactics and options to do it. Decide for yourself and with your sponsor and partner. But while you're doing this, don't just look at the piles of products. Make the calls. And while you're doing that and you're introducing products from the heart, then keep an eye and a heart open to think about who might be somebody who's getting to love the products, and give them a little taste of, tell them, I'm working on my auto sales master. Hey, would you try to buy a few more, a few products that you're waiting to buy for a couple of weeks later? Why don't you buy it now? Or have you tried this product? And by the way, maybe since you love the product so much, I know you're using another person using 20 products and you love it, and you've indicated you might be interested at some time to make money. Hey, if you buy, a couple of these extra products, and if you introduce to your sister, or maybe introduce me to talk to her, hey, there's a way, because you have so many people, that you could get a check or two. And once they have a taste of that check, they're going to open their mind to buy more and to think about becoming an auto consumer. So there's this auto sales master is all about moving the organization, building the consumer base, but really keeping an eye out for these new leaders that are going to come up. Now, I always classify, well, not always, but I tend to classify as like 4 levels of consumers, right? You have your newbies that use 1 to 5 products. They're just maybe doing you a favor, or they just needed one thing and they're not really responsive. They buy it, but they don't use it for months. Then you have your more active, when they're using about 20 products, now it's time to really accelerate them using the product. Then you have those loyal consumers that can be anywhere from 20 to 50. Then you have super crazy consumers, right? Like we talked about. So again, while you're monitoring these, and I know other people have talked about having a record book. I think you've talked about in this course. That's why you have a journal of your customer record of what they're buying, what they like, what they haven't tried yet, but would like to. In some business circles, they call it CRM, right? Your customer relationships managed record. But whatever it is, you're monitoring this because your consumers are what are going to grow some of them into leaders. So again, that's what we're trying to do. That's the method, is to move the product, have the conversations, find the leaders that have a similar love for the product and love to have financial freedom, or maybe they lost their jobs. There's so many reasons, but that's what you're trying to do, is convert these consumers, a handful, into leaders. Now, there's a lot of ways that the company structure and policies help us to accelerate or leverage network marketing. So here's something that we have to keep in mind. If we were to try to sell ourselves, right, to become auto sales master, one way to calculate it is that to get those 2.5 million on each side, and people are not buying many, you don't have a lot of loyal consumers because you haven't nurtured your consumer base yet. There's not really loyal consumers or crazy consumers, right? So you'd probably need, 80 people on both sides to generate that 2.5 million, because they're little consumers of toothbrushes, right? And that would mean in a direct selling environment that you would have to really talk to all these people, which takes a lot more time than what Atomy has to offer. This is the power of the network marketing, right? Because if we have a web of a handful, anywhere from 4 to 8 people on each leg that are very active consumers and also starting themselves to want to follow you to get that income check, then the power of network marketing as a concept is that you need less people. You have to nurture deeply, 8 strong leaders on each side to be able to use the power of the network, the web, because everybody obviously would be a crazy consumer, but they also have a lot of products they can talk about with other consumers. You get to have a like-minded and like-hearted people. So when you get negativity from other people that don't know Atomy, that you can go. So, but the calculation system that we talked about before makes it so that you only need a handful of people. So that's a unique leverage of network marketing. And this is why it's so different. Unfortunately, there are a number of people in Atomy that to try to do it by themselves without understanding the system, right? Understanding how to leverage the total sum, how to support your downline, how to do all the activities we do with our 8 core and our 8 steps of success. And they are sellers. And we've seen those people, right? That's the left side. And they may sell to 1,000 people, but then they forget their name. They can't even find their phone book. So let's use the power of the network marketing. That's how our auto sales master works the best. And I want to reintroduce some of the basic structure of Atomy that will help us to really accomplish our auto sales master quicker. These are the policies we talked about at the beginning, right? But as you're working to build your consumer base and to find your leaders, as I said, there's 3 big drivers that are working every day. And this is very important for Atomy because to maintain the daily dollar value for that first check of $60, sometimes that's a very challenging thing for a network marketing company in the binary system. But the way that we overcome that is some of these policies here. For example, as we talked about, there's a lot of new products that the company keeps introducing, right? Both through our global sourcing and global sales, but also they just keep introducing more products that they're making in Korea as well, right? We know we have the MPO program and all this stuff. And now we can buy on the Korean website, right? So those Korean website items can be bought there for very good PV, right? And those are new products. So if we take the initiative as a business person, we can really increase from those new products our PV to get us to auto sales master. It's a great strategy. The new countries, every time the new country opens, we know somebody from there, or somebody in our connected group knows somebody from there. And so that just keeps giving us an opportunity. There's a lot of people who, stuck around for a long time, and then something popped in these other countries. For example, there's an 80-year-old woman in Korea, and she didn't know what to do. She used the product, she loved the product, but eventually, way down line, because of our total sum and our unlimited levels, there came a person who actually helped to open up Taiwan and also another country. And that guy just was a business person that knew about real business. And he got so excited by Atomy because of the $1 million a year and the righteous system. And because that woman who was 80-year-old found that person, because she waited, and then that came out, that is going to propel us. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. And then the third thing here is the new platform, the Asia Mall, right? When it's said that people like Samsung are going to give us products that are, high-tech electronic products that are going to be lower than anywhere else you can buy it. Boy, is that going to give us a great talking point to those knucklehead friends that are still stubborn or just watching to see you. Some people are saying, okay, Gel, or okay, who's our uncle here? Uncle Mike. They're saying, okay, I did that network marketing with you before, and it may or may not have worked out. So they're watching you to make that $2,000 and $4,000 for the auto sales and then auto diamond. They're watching you. But when we have this Asia Mall, they're going to see even the power of thousands of products at a low level. So all three of these aspects are another lever to increase our point values. So given that we know the structure, right? We know the structure. And so really the thing is you're all here today to just accelerate your success and to make it to this auto sales master, 2,000 to 4,000 a month, right? Is that everybody's here for that? All right, so I'm just gonna wrap up sort of this section with some important habits to succeed that combines all the elements of the compensation plan with the work that we have to do. You know, some people say, well, what's my task? And we kind of know that, but this is just some gentle reminder of what we need to do. The first thing is just switch everything and encourage your people that you're working with, even just consumers, to switch here. Because you know they're going to switch with that Mastige product. They're just going to go online, just like anything else. And the prices are good and the quality's great. And so by just switching your own and your family and everybody, obviously that's going to work, right? And you're going to help other people, even though they don't know it, get their personal PV up, as well as help you get your points that you need to be auto sales master. So as you're growing, and it's, you know, you really want to get everybody to the point that they love the product and they're switching too. Don't hide the product. I have a couple of consumers that, you know, they bought 10 products, but when I visit either their office or their home, they're hiding them under the cabinet. No, put the soap out on the sink, right? Put the hair essential oil out on the cabinet. Have the scrubber in the sink. Don't put it under the cabinet. Have it out there. Just keep switching and switching anything you can do for that. And don't forget to share in social media. Of course, we have to share everything. And social media is making it so much easier today, right? We share the products. We have that list of what people are using in our consumer journal of what people have used already, what they like, what they're thinking about using. We just have to work that list every day. The testimonials that we have and our team members have, that's going to help us share. And obviously, we help people to figure out how to use them all and to give them those videos. Right now, it's so easy to click. And I see so many people now, and the company is encouraging us, but just do it yourself or with your team. Just start a conversation. Show a picture of, the collagen. Show a picture of, the vitamin C. Show a picture of some of the food, the oatmeal. I take it to my office and leave it out by the sink. The hot pot. Get people to be curious by showing them things. And of course, when they're interested, you can show them a little demo video. There's so many videos out there. We don't even have to make any more videos, right? But sharing it, just multiply that. I know everybody's a sharer, but the follow-up we know is important too. Repetition to become this auto sales master, we know it's tough, right? But we have to do it 15 days, 30, 31 days a month. Just keep doing it. Wax on, use the products, wax off, share the products, right? You've heard that before. But the repetition is, if you're going to be a star runner in the Olympics, what do? They repeat for 4 years before they ever get that gold medal. And that's very much like an auto sales master, because you're working hard for months and months and months, and you're not making that $1,000 yet. But that repetition is so key. This is the one, right? Failure. We have to fail, because Michael Jordan, he's, probably he's for some of the early young people, maybe they're not as familiar with Michael, but Michael was a star and he's still a gentleman, and he's still in the basketball game as a general manager. But the crazy thing about him is that it seemed like he never missed a shot, because he was always making the plays. But the reality is that he missed, this is his quote, 9,000 shots Michael Jordan missed in his career. He lost 300 games. He was given the ball 26 times to win the game, and he failed. He missed the shot. And he says he failed over and over again, and that's why he succeeds. So that's what auto sales master is, just call, call, call. And if you have that goal and you have that commitment to yourself and to the team, to make your auto sales master, because everybody's depending on you, right? You're not going for auto sales master alone. You're making the shot every day, calling people and having these meetings. We just have to keep it up with the passion. And of course, this is the time, right? To become, once you become the auto sales master, like I said, you know the system, you know the method, you know everything. But what you need to do is to really refine it, right? Know all the products, use them, know what the effects are, know how to introduce them briefly, know the compensation plan like we're doing today, know how to tell it in 3 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is. Know the company. So when people ask you questions, what kind of a company is it? Because if you start with fumbling, then you're going to miss an opportunity when people really start to be interested. And of course, there's so many skills, and most of them are soft skills. You know, really with Atomy, to become an auto sales master, an Imperial master, it's all about the personal skills because the system's already there. The products are there, the suppliers are there. We don't have to do 98% of what most businesses require you to do to be a business person, to make millions of dollars a year. So we have to work on our relationships, our trust, right? Listening and coaching, inspiring people, being able to make those presentations, leading meetings as the MC or the organizer, and of course, getting in the nitty gritty all the time if someone has a trouble, and of course, the team building. So all of these elements, I know you're all doing them now. There's not that many of them. I added up actually the 8 core habits and the 8 steps to success. And actually there's a lot of overlap. There's only 12 actually. So there's not that many of the daily efforts to have to do. But just a reminder of the habits that we'll be able to make. At the end of the day and at the beginning of the day, it's all about your own why. Why do you want to be successful in Atomy? Your financial freedom, whatever it means to you, right? You need money. It's not the love of money that you're after. You're after what money can do for you, your family, first of all. And work on you and your family. And then, of course, you can help other people as you want to do. But it's finding our why and sharing our why with other people, because the big thing to be auto sales master is you have to really develop deeper relationships with your consumers and your teammates and your emerging leaders, and share your whys with each other. You know, we're going to be together for 100 years if we live that long, because we're all going to have the income. We won't have to work again, right? We're making $50,000 a month. So share your why. The sooner you do it, the better. That's going to break down. And when we see those people, those teams that really are tight knit, you know, it's so obvious that they're sharing everything. And it's a big effort, but there's a big payoff. So being an auto sales master is your chance to really show your strength and show your synergy. Let's get through all the difficulties that we may have individually, also as a team. You know, it's like, I remember being in the football locker room. I hate to end with this image, but after we worked our heart out on the field and are all muddy and dirty, and that's what happens when you become an auto sales master. It's all about just combining your might and your will and just going together. And you know what? It stinks in that locker room. You have successes, but you have a lot of failures. And that's what being an auto sales master is. You will never be the same after you reach your first sales master. And then after you repeat it month after month after month to get that passive sales master. And then when you reach the auto sales master, I cannot tell you, in the auto diamond master, it is such a rewarding thing. And you know, you're going to look back, right? So envision yourself as a royal master, and you're going to look back 5 years from that day in the forward. And you're going to look at yourself today and give yourself a recommendation that it's worth it. You're going to make it. And use that in the mirror every day, because the system is simple, right? You have the notes, you have the videos. Just keep at it, use your power, use your synergy. And I wish you all very good success this month and the coming months as you ramp up and fly to your destination of financial freedom and auto sales master. Thank you, everybody, for listening. It's really my pleasure to be here today, and I hope some of this has been useful for you. So good luck and enjoy the ride. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, CLD Diego, Sharon's master. That was a lot of detail. Everybody paying a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Okay. And really, company made all the system for us to success. You just have to love the product, use the product 100%. Then you share with your friends and family. You know, that's how you can make a residual income. And it especially make your life scenarios all the time, because then make you believe 5 years later or 2 years later where you're gonna be. That will drive you crazy how you want to live your life after 5 years later, you know. So thank you so much, CLD Diego, Sharon's master. Thank you. It's
Thank you all.
times
Thank you very much.
getting a little better late. So I'm gonna ask a couple of people, what do you think about tonight marketing plan? And also if you have a question, just you know, a couple of people. We don't have time, so don't be shy. Can someone do it? Raise your hand. I guess you don't want a success. You gotta have, okay, my Uncle Michael.
You say
Go ahead.
question, have question?
Okay, hon.
Oh, me, I don't, but I want to make a comment. He's everything he say and his plan and the explanation is on point. You are amazing. I
Oh,
just
that's
want to
good.
tell you that. Thank you so much for taking
That's
your
good.
time. And yeah, so I just told my team that when we get the recorder from YouTube, all of us gonna promise each other, gonna watch your video over and over, maybe 100 times, because it's just really amazing. Thank you so much for your time and sharing that with us. That will help us so much. Thank
Okay,
you.
so we don't have that much time, so I'm gonna give you 3 minutes for Uncle Michael. Let's just speed it up.
Just want to say thank you. It was great. Good graphics. Everything was good. And in short, I think what it does, it really gives us hope and it lets us know that we can do it. So just stay in there. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. Great, great, Uncle Mike. So now we're gonna share with a 3-minute speech about the company motto. So make it sincerely share how you